Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Juggernaut, and these will be my first impressions of Days Gone. Days Gone is not a brand new game, but for the PC it certainly is, and for its Steam release, which is, well, today, at the time of recording, probably a day or two ago, when I upload the video. What is it? Well, it is a game that's been talked about quite a lot when it got initially released, and when the first few trailers for it dropped. It looked quite promising, and then I think for a lot of people it sort of went off radar a little bit. It was announced for a time as, I think, a PS exclusive. It is available on the PC now, though, and I'm going to talk about the quality of the port. I'm going to talk about the actual game, what it's like, and so on, but this is by no means a review. These are, like I said, just my first impressions of it, and I'll sort of give you a general idea of what to look forward to in a game, and that you can determine whether you're interested in it, and if you want to actually, you know, investigate it more or give it a shot for yourselves. So, with that said, Days Gone is a third-person, open-world, zombie apocalypse survival RPG to an extent, but I wouldn't really call it an RPG game. There are elements of crafting, there are elements of base upgrading / building to some extent, but for the most part you're going to go around exploring, fighting, or running away from zombies, and doing that. So there we go.
Hey, Deacon, bro. I think it's dead. You're gonna break my shotgun. Yeah. Okay.
They don't break that easily. Source, I have one. And I tried to break it. I'm kidding, no. So, I'm going to talk about the quality of the port first, because I feel like that's most important, other than, you know, what the game is like itself, and, oh boy. Well, it's certainly not the best port of the year, and it's not going to win over any prizes for that. The movement, especially, is what I have a huge problem with. Aiming, you know, the UI and stuff like that is done fairly well enough, I suppose. If we go over to the options menu and we take a look at mouse and keyboard, there are quite a few options here in terms of sensitivity. You can rebind your keys, which, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but is not always the case in the current year. However, you can customize a lot of these things, so as weapon selection UI, as all sorts of things, and I've disabled a lot of UI because I'm playing on the hardest difficulty, so, you know, it does come with some drawbacks on that side as well, but there are also options for the gamepad, and if you have one, I would highly recommend that you play the game with both a gamepad and mouse and keyboard. For elements like this, where you're going to need to walk around and shoot stuff, I recommend mouse and keyboard, obviously. Mouse and keyboard is superior when it comes to ranged combat in pretty much every single aspect.
Finally.
However, when it comes to moving around, especially driving and exploring, ooh, yeah, it's not ideal. I'm going to try and explain how exactly. The movement feels floaty, and I have no better way of explaining this, like, not really. It feels like it's being emulated and not ported over. It feels like when I hit the W key, there's a program somewhere in the background that emulates the W key and replaces it with pushing a stick on a controller forward. This is most apparent when driving. The driving controls are really tough to learn initially on mouse and keyboard. Now, they're not the worst, but it feels like when I hit the A key, I haven't turned the wheel left. It feels like I'm pushing the stick leftwards more and more progressively as I hold the A key. It's a really difficult thing to explain without having to try it yourself, but let's say that the moment you hit the A key, the character doesn't just turn left, he starts turning left, and it's a procedure, right? It's almost like it's emulating you slowly turning the stick leftwards and not just snapping it left as you usually do when you want to turn left quickly, right? So in that sense, the controls are a little bit slow and a little bit floaty. The same happens with movement. Although you could argue this adds some realism, the character doesn't just snap that way very quickly. He certainly does that when you aim, though. So, yeah. It does make the game look good from a viewing perspective, but from an agency perspective and in terms of control, yeah, it leaves a lot to be desired. Sorry about the clicking noises. There is some button mashing in the game, in the more linear-oriented and focused parts of it. But that's alright. Anyways, so here we see the sort of crafting and scavenging elements of it. It is fairly limited, the crafting, though, for better or worse. You have distractions, traps, weapons, and medical supplies. There are going to be things later down the line that you also unlock that, you know, improve all of this and so on, but the crafting is not insane. We're not talking like Fallout 4 levels of collecting all sorts of junk. No, mostly you're looking for medical supplies, ammunition, stuff like that. Most of the time, it's just that, and there's none of that. Like, you're not going to be going around collecting, I don't know, concrete or sand or planks or whatever to build up your house or whatever. It's not that kind of game. Now, the most sort of obvious and appealing... That's the second time in a row I've done that.
God damn it.
That is the second time in a row I've done that. Anyways, sort of the most appealing part of the game, I think, is the actual walkers themselves, freaks as they're called here, and the game does, you know, fall into that. You do collect scrap, by the way. But what I meant is the whole mechanic isn't as detailed as some might like or others might fear. It really depends on your perspective. Now, vehicles are also a big part. Specifically, your bike is a big part of the game. Now, I'll get to my thoughts eventually, I swear. One of the most appealing parts of the game for most was the fact that the zombies run. And certainly that provides a lot more of a challenge, and it makes them a lot more interesting, and it makes them a lot more of a factor when it comes to the actual survival part of the game. Now, that said, it's not the most interesting part. The most interesting part is, well, the trailer and the stuff demonstrated in the trailer for the game. That's the hordes. This game, if you haven't seen the trailer, can put a lot of enemies on your screen. In the thousands. Oh yes. Hordes can attack you in the thousands, and there are certain locations in the game where you're meant to go to simply just fight the horde. Most of the time, obviously, you're going to be running away from it because, you know, ammo is scarce, survival supplies in general are pretty scarce in the game, so obviously you want to, you know, not fight zombies unnecessarily, especially because it yields little to no reward. Or sorry, when it yields little to no reward. However, there are situations in the game where you do want to fight the horde, either just for fun or because, you know, there is something useful to be had out of that. And then I think it is at that point that the game shines and shows its uniqueness in oh so many brilliant ways. First of all, the thousands and thousands of enemies on screen is not something that any other game does in this exact way. It does do it. For example, in State of Decay, you can have quite a lot of enemies attacking your base, but not quite like this. Not with the fluidity of movement that the walkers have, and, well, honestly, not with the speed that they do it. Not with the ferocity, and not with the...
You got any shit to make more? Yeah.
Alright, sorry about that. Here we go. I think here's what we're gonna grab. Are we gonna have to craft it or no? Just grab. Ah, no, yes, we're gonna have to craft it. They're gonna teach us how to do it. Lovely. I'm assuming it's in throwables. Yes.
That'll do it.
Here they come.
I don't like how they react to the flashlight. They don't like flashlights, and it does slow them down a little bit, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, okay, give me a sec.
Do I want to look around for some more crafting supplies or whatever? Probably. There's probably nothing. Alright. Let's go. So. There was a cutscene and I want to skip some of the story elements. Basically the point is we're going to go and sneak on over there and probably fight a few of them, try and get parts for the bike, which was unfortunately damaged during a firefight.
Go on.
Now,
get out of here, you little shits.
very sad and unfortunate. Those are indeed children. Oh, alright. Fascinating. Anyways, visually the game is maybe not the best looking. I figured stealth would be a thing here. It looks like a stealth kind of segment. I think I'm gonna grab the pistol. There we go. Lovely. Swarmer ear, alright. Gonna go ahead and assume that's useful for something. Now, visually the game is not the best looking game of 2020, especially considering this came around the same time as something like Horizon Zero Dawn, and, wow, I mean, look, the game doesn't look bad by any stretch of the imagination. The performance is fabulous. Like, the game actually performs better than I expected it to, and I expected fairly decent performance from it. So, from that side of things, the port is actually phenomenal. I just cannot praise the performance enough. I'm getting rock solid 60 FPS. I think I've dropped to like 55, 50 maybe in some strange bits where there's clearly a loading thing happening in the background. But I am getting rock solid performance with everything turned up, and gotta be honest with you, this PC is sort of showing its age a little bit, especially in the graphics card department, but you know. That aside, and my whole problem with Bitcoin and mining and the overly priced inflation and you know everything that's horrible with today's economy about graphics cards aside, how do I turn off the flashlight? Sorry. Give me a second. All right. Like I said, the game performs incredibly well. So, what's wrong with it? So far, I've been exclusively praising it. Well, other than the port, shockingly little. I think, especially if you look at the Steam reviews, I think the game, well, at the last time I checked, it had something like 90% positive Steam reviews. That's insane. Especially coming from a game that, you know, although it is one of the sort of main titles of the year, and you know, of the year for the PC, of last year for the PlayStation, you don't really see it all that much. There's not all that many people streaming it. There's not all that many people making YouTube videos of it, and I guess it not being on PC up until now is kind of part of that. Okay, sorry, but that's mildly terrifying. There we go. go. I would like to enter this building too. Beautiful. Other than that, like I said, I don't really see anything wrong with it that's a glaring issue. Sure, you could always nitpick in terms of the graphics, in terms of the floaty controls, in terms of the storyline actually seems pretty solid, although the pacing is a little bit off in the story. Mind you, I haven't played much. This is obviously still the tutorial kind of area. Beyond this point, I've played, like, I don't know, maybe an hour or so, but at least at the start, the pacing does seem to be a little bit off. In the sense that you go from, like, an emotionally charged moment with leaving someone behind and, you know, parting with someone, to a high-octane bike chase on a highway while getting shot at and someone's throwing molotovs at you, and you have no idea who the person is. And that's literally the opening of the game. So the pacing is a little bit all over the place at times. But that said, though, it's not necessarily a terrible thing. The game does advance through everything pretty quickly, it doesn't tie you down to anything, and it does let you out into the open world fairly quickly, after a fairly in-depth tutorial explaining everything rather intuitively. So, I gotta admit, I'm loving this. Matter of fact, I'm loving this to the extent that it's probably my favorite game in the genre that I've played since Dead by Daylight. And gotta admit, Dead by Daylight set a pretty darn big standard, so yeah. Dying Light, not Dead by Daylight. I knew something was wrong as soon as I said it, but I completely forgot that those are two different games. I read something about Dead by Daylight this morning when I woke up, so that's part of the reason, I suppose. Sorry about that. So yeah, since Dying Light, and although they're you know, very different games, they sort of kind of occupy the same genre. Oh, that's interesting. That's a rather unique way of doing suppressors, but okay. Attach suppressor. There we go. So, one begs the question, now that I've done that, is there any particular reason not to go back and murder all the zombies? Because the mission doesn't seem to be timed. I think that's exactly what I'm going to do. Try and get the maximum amount of loot possible from the area. Now, for jumping and rather jump cutting like this, but I want to get all my facts straight as quickly as possible, and I want to just double check everything what I'm talking about, because I'll try and take this rather seriously. There is one part of the game that I seriously dislike, though, and I haven't talked about yet, because it's not necessarily a part of the game. The game for itself, and the way it is great, honestly. All things considered, and sort of to wrap the first impressions up, I feel like I'm going to continue playing this for a very long time. The game does seem to have quite a lot of replayability in that you can go around exploring and looting stuff, and even though the rewards might not be the greatest for looting, a la Fallout 4, where you need to, you know, constantly go out and grab stuff for base building and whatnot. Here it's mostly for the weapons and gear that you have on you that's most important. That said, though, regardless, I feel like the game's terrific. With that said, there is something outside of the game that isn't all that amazing and is rather concerning. Data collection. This game is the Facebook of the video gaming industry when it comes to data collection. There is no way to opt out of it if you want to continue playing the game. It collects data on pretty much damn near everything, right? on a single-player game. There's no multiplayer. I mean, there's a challenge mode, there's photo mode, which is great. Yes, we can go to photo mode. Look at this. Every game should have a photo mode. Terrific. Data collection, though? Why? Why? I understand it's probably a vestige from PS4, but... matter of fact, I'll go so far as to saying... I just checked again on Steam, which is kind of the reason why I made the jump cut to begin with. The game has like 91% now. I think it was 93 when I last checked. Now it was 91% positive reviews on Steam. It's not that popular though. I'll get to that in a bit. It has 91% positive reviews on Steam. I want to say 7 or 8% of the negative reviews are due to data collection. It runs buttery smooth on all sorts of systems, and I've done a little bit of reading up on that as well. Buttery smooth on all systems virtually that are you know, that are within the specified minimum.
That's right.
Oh Jesus, they are. They are remarkably difficult to hit, and I cannot explain to you why. Sorry about that. I'm focusing on what I'm trying to say rather than what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Finally. Bounty.
What do you mean bounty? Oh, bounty for the yeah. Okay, sorry about that. So yeah, if you're not a fan of something like that, and are particularly against data collection of any sort and description, sorry to say, there is no way of opting out of it. Well, there is one way of opting out of it, and that would be to not actually, you know, acquire the game legally, or actually play the game via Steam. You can buy it, leave it on the shelf, and then, you know, use an alternative medium, hint hint, to play the game. That is one way, and I actually think that's quite valid. Believe it or not, I do not condone piracy in any way, shape, or form, but here you wouldn't be actually pirating anything. If you buy the game, just leave it on the shelf, not play it like that, and just opt out of the whole data collection thing by playing it in a different way. I think that's valid. However, you still wouldn't be fully opting out of the data collection thing, because by virtue of the fact that you've downloaded the game and not played it, you still like have some kind of data collection there already. But you know, it's the second best thing, I suppose. A little bit unfortunate, but you know, that's it. Now, why is the game not all that enjoyed and played like some others are? I think I sort of mentioned that at the beginning. There's fatigue. There's quite a lot of fatigue when it comes to open world survival games in general now, which is quite unfortunate, as they happen to be probably my favorite genre of video game, along with just straight up open world RPGs, a la Skyrim, Fallout, and etc. But I also kind of understand it, because the fatigue is not there from too much of a good thing. Rather, the bar has been raised significantly. I'm having a strong sense of deja vu right now. Matter of fact, a very, very strong sense of deja vu, to the point where I feel like I said I have a strong sense of deja vu in this exact scene somewhere before. A glitch in the Matrix aside, here's the thing. If you constantly keep making okay survival games of the open world variety, okay is no longer okay. Okay becomes bad, because every single open world survival game out there is okay. Now, we've had some great open world survival games with or without zombies, and after several of those, in order to make a game stand out, you need something that's truly exceptional. And that's, you know, unfortunate for the developers because the ceiling and the bar keeps getting higher and higher, and well, you need to jump higher and higher in order to stay competitive. And to that end, I think a lot of people don't necessarily think this game is bad, but are just tired of the whole genre. So that could be one of the reasons why the game isn't all that popular and all that talked about out there. You know, on the interwebs. I'm kidding, but it's not. It really doesn't have a huge presence on Steam or on Steam. Sorry. Well, yes, it hasn't sold that many copies on Steam, mind you. It hasn't been out very long, and it hasn't been really present in media all that much either. So,
Where are you, man?
yeah. Oh, are we gonna have to fight some humans? That'll be.
Damn it, Boozer, where are you? I hear him.
Wow.
These tats are dead symbols of a dead man. Dead symbols of the lost.
Get off me! Son of bitches! Biker man!
You must be brought low, biker man. For you are lost, and we are found. We will show you. You are not one of the found. You are the lost. You are lost. Get low.
Can I hurry up? I mean, I understand I was, you know, taking my sweet time looting, but... You're going to cover by crouching next to it. Yes, I've sort of done this already.
Son of a bitch.
Shoulder swapping. Yes, I know how to do that as well. That's alright.
These tats are dead symbols of a dead man. Dead symbols of the lost.
Hey! Over here! You sons of bitches, get off him! Ripper assholes, come on!
Peek. Come on. There you go. They always peek.
Boozer.
Bitches, I'm gonna kill them all.
Boozer.
Fucking one of them!
Oh my god.
Oh, shit.
Let me help you up.
I got this.
No, you don't. Get up. Fucking rippers. Gotta go.
It's like they were waiting for me or something. Fuck.
I didn't see them, and then they were on me. Okay. My arm. Don't look at it. Goddamn arm. I'm serious. Don't look at it.
God, don't look at it. Get on the bike.
It'll heal, right?
Go, go.
Speaking of the Horde... Yes, that's not just a cinematic. Those are actually in-engine rendered, and you do actually get to fight them later down the line. So there we go. I think that's about all I want to show you.
Shit. Thought we'd never make it.
You know what? I'm gonna skip this. It's story, and I don't want to spoil too much of it.
Here, let me make sure it's all clear.
Okay, there we go. There wasn't much story to spoil, but you know, we're gonna get some medicine for our friend's arm. We also have a crossbow.
I gotta find something for his arm.
Beautiful, isn't it? Look at it. This is actually gorgeous. It is actually gorgeous. We are Daryl Dixon all up in this. Now, here's the thing. That's about it as far as the game is concerned. There are obviously more things that I haven't experienced yet, more things that I haven't mentioned, but as a sort of introduction to it, that's pretty much it. After a flashy trailer and quite a lot of promises, you know, back when it was initially announced, the game delivers. The game delivers on the vast majority of those. It provides a fun experience. It provides quite a lot of adjacency and freedom. It is just fun to play. There's a lot of things to do. It's not boring. The map is, and generally the setting is really darn good. Although I will say the map isn't necessarily the biggest. Would have liked a little bit more of an expansion, you know, north and southwards and stuff. But there is a lot of variety on the map. You're going to be going through woods and fields like that, and then there are urban areas that you're going to need to explore, and, you know, quality of a quantity, I suppose. So yeah, that's gonna be about it. I thoroughly I have to recommend this thoroughly. It's great. There are nooks and crannies that I don't like. There are some bits that I will change. I think the looting system and the whole gear system could have been done a little bit better, especially when you put it on survival mode. I think that could have changed. The way it is, you essentially have unlimited ammo at your base, but not when you go out exploring. Not the greatest fan of that. This opens automatically, which is convenient, but hey.
I'm not taking Boozer's bike. I gotta get to mine before it gets dark.
Crafting bolts. You can create new crossbow bolts in the crafting menu. Oh, alright, that's cool. I do like this though. See, we're collecting twigs and stuff for crossbow bolts.
Boozer, are you awake?
Yeah, Deacon. What's up?
I just saw someone sneaking around the safe house.
What the hell? What's he doing?
No idea. I'm gonna follow him. See if there's some more where he came from. Deacon out.
Oh, I can't. I was gonna shoot him, but the game won't let me. I just, you know, crossbow bolt to the chins. It's not gonna kill him. Yeah, the stamina bar is invisible in survival mode. You know, not quite sure what I think about that. It's immersive though, I like it. There's no UI when you're running around like this other than the tracker, which I suppose is kind of useful, but some more customizability when it comes to that wouldn't exactly be amiss. Actually, let me check. Can I display accessibility? Gameplay. Turn XP indicators on or off, which is very useful. But no, doesn't seem like there's too many UI options, so yeah. Oh well. I praise the game for its frame rate, and now I'm getting 45, which is weird. Okay, now it's 50. 45 in this particular instance. Weird. This is the lowest frame rate I've had in the game so far. Anyways, yeah, there you go. I think I'm going to show you a little bit more gameplay. Make the video ever so slightly longer. For CEO purposes. I'm kidding. Let's craft a few more bolts, and then we're going to do this quietly, right? I do appreciate survival mode not having UI, though, as a permanent thing to sort of just stay there and annoy me. Really do appreciate that, so... Okay. Dead. Crossbow bolts are affected by gravity and will drop off as they travel to their target. Yeah. Good to know.
Finally, Jesus.
There we go. Ooh.
Won't be needing this.
Interesting. That is a nice gun. Okay. Still want to continue to do it quietly, though, I think. Yeah. Definitely want to do this quietly. What's this? Baseball bat. We already have that. We're at max supplies. See, that's kind of part of the whole problem for me. Yeah, you can always use a medkit until you reach full capacity with medkits. Yeah, you know. I'm perfectly fine with having a capacity on things, don't get me wrong. That's great, you know, like, you can't carry 5 million med packs with you. That's alright, but... Oh? Oh. Opportunity. Which I haven't exactly taken advantage of. But opportunity nonetheless. That was That was amusing. It also is going to put them at a highly alert state now, so... yeah... suppose that wasn't ideal. Also assuming that if they see one of their friends die due to a crossbow bolt to the skull, they're not entirely going to be convinced it was shot by a zombie or a freak or whatever they call them. So, yeah. I really love the flashlights, though. The way the flashlight works, okay, it's not the brightest, and it's not the most realistic from that perspective. I would have preferred them to be a little bit more, you know, a little bit more realistic, I suppose, in a sense, but at the same time, the way it actually affects combat and stuff, terrific. There we go. See, now it's telling me like 4 out of 6 cleared. I don't want to know. Yeah? I don't want to know. I want to be surprised. See if there's like one more or not.
I saw something.
There we go. And there should be one more over in this direction.
I'll just take these.
Just out of curiosity, though. Oh, my... yeah, the number of bolts I can fire is limited. I don't get them back. I thought it was going to be Walking Dead, where bolts are almost infinitely retrievable and virtually never break. I think during the whole show, like 2 bolts maybe broke. Yeah, it's just not your day. I'm sorry.
That's the last of them. Must have followed us here. Sons of bitches. Stay the hell off Old Leary Mountain. Boozer, I found their camp. Just a few drifters looking to move in our safe house.
Like we were saying before, it's time to start thinking about heading north.
Let's get your arm fixed up and then worry about hitting the road. I'm gonna be heading to my bike. Deacon out.
Yeah.
Oh, damn freakers.
Not exactly Horizon, which I still am mesmerized by how beautiful that game looks to this day, but, you know, still atmospheric, good looking. I feel like the colors are a little bit paler than they should be. I think a little bit more vibrancy, and I fully understand why the design decision was made to make it look like this, but I feel like a little bit more vibrancy in the color, and the game would have looked a lot better graphically than it does, and the atmosphere would have been a little bit more pronounced. But, you know, something to be said about pale colors making atmosphere as well, and turning everything grey. I mean, just look at Stalker, right? It's the most atmospheric game ever, and there's not a lot of color there. Anyways, it's how you use it that really influences all of that. Anyways, I think that's about it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Like, subscribe down below if you enjoyed the video, and we'll stay tuned with the rest of the content I produce on the channel. Until next time, have fun, take care, bye-bye.